Hi, y'all. This is Kristen Chenoweth.
Hi, I'm Gloria Stefan.
This is Sarah Bareilles.
Hi, I'm Patty Lapone.
This is Lin-Manuel Miranda. You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Liz Esten.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, the podcast where I try to get Andrew and Liz to like musical theater. And today, we have an extra special guest who has been waiting in the wings for at least 3 years on this
Wait,
specific
really?
episode.
Yes. You've seriously been holding this off that long?
You made him wait this long for this?
Oh my God.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is how it happened. I was going to bring it up if he didn't, but yes, years ago. I think I may have still been in Michigan when that conversation went down.
I'm the best. In case people wonder how far I plan in advance for these, it's really intense. Please,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure.
Please join me in welcoming actor, entertainer, streamer, brilliant mind, martial artist, and #1 comic book fan, Phillip Shaun Devone.
Hey. Thanks, y'all. Like, that is the most hype I think I've ever received anywhere.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
I didn't ask them to throw in the brilliant thing. That's cool though. I'll take it.
Well, I've worked with you, and like as an actor, it's one of those few things that both myself and Nicolas Cage have in common.
Thanks for plugging the. Thanks for plugging the claim to fame in my household. Like my family, my extended family across the country, they're all like, "Hey, he was in the movie with Nicolas Cage," and that's kind of the thing people hold on to. That or they see me at the gas pump if they happen to live like in Michigan. They'll occasionally see me at the gas pump. They're like, "Oh, he's on this buckle up your seatbelt commercial," and they get so
You're still on that
excited.
commercial.
I am.
Yes. And it just makes me nostalgic. But I mean, you are a comic fan. You are really the ultimate comic fan. Like, you have an entire like stream show where your branding is very comic book based. But also, you have personally worked with a man that played Superman twice.
This is true. And also has been Spider-Man. He's gotten around. He's been Ghost Rider. Like, he loves comics.
Yes, but which is why I knew you are the main source to go to for comic book accuracy. For I won't say it's the first comic book show, but it is an early one. We have not set this up properly, but this week we are covering the iconic Broadway flop. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Cue the music.
Other men have their work to do, but as for me, I must live not one life but two. This disguise is really wonderful, for who would guess that underneath this white shirt is a great big red S. Every man has his job to do, and my job is doing good. I'll never stop doing good.
So here's where I get all the information out of the way so people can't claim I didn't say it. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. It's a musical written by David Newman and Robert Benton, with music and lyrics by Charles Strouse and Lee Adams. Andrew, do you recognize either of those names?
Should I? Because I don't.
They wrote Annie and Annie Warbucks. Do you like part and
for
parcel?
Oh my God.
Of course they did.
For Superman.
That makes a lot of sense, honestly, with the style of humor in this.
I literally thought about Annie Warbucks while watching this. No joke. I was like, this had Annie Warbucks vibe.
It kind of does.
I think it's better than Annie Warbucks. It is based on Superman by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. The musical opened on Broadway at the Alvin Theater on March 29, 1966. Directed by Harold Prince, who you'd recognize from future Broadway accomplishments such as Sweeney Todd, A Little Night Music, and becoming the penultimate Broadway director. Got to start here with Superman. The production received generally positive reviews, but it failed to catch on with the theater going public and closed July 17th, 1966, after only 129 performances. It received 3 Tony Award nominations, but won none of them. The only song from the score that has any kind of cultural legacy is You've Got Possibilities, which really is only because it was on a Pillsbury commercial in the early 2000s. And I bet if you saw that, it's literally just the Pillsbury Doughboy dancing to the song. That song, I love it, but it has nothing to do with Superman.
You've got possibilities, let us give it a try.
She's maybe more than meets the eye.
The plot of this musical is campy, dynamic, and larger than life. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Captures the sights and sounds of 1960s New York City as Superman battles a vengeful scientist determined to destroy the world's symbol of good. Meanwhile, Daily Planet writer Lois Lane struggles to make sense of her rocky romance with the superhero, and Lois's ambitious coworker Max vows to make a name for himself by unveiling the Man of Steel's secret identity. All right, so I'm so curious with all this. Phil, I'm going to start you off because I know they're going to have like boringer answers for this. What is your relationship with Superman and musical theater?
All right, well, word. All right, so, as an actor, I started in theater. I did not start in musical theater, but like as a kid, as a child, like, I was taken out to some musicals. I think Peter Pan was probably the first thing I ever saw like live. Left a huge impression on me. And as an actor, I think in my career, I've definitely like veered more into like straight plays. Like I do more like, traditional theater that way. But I love musicals. I love them. I love them as movies. I love them as live productions. I'm not as well versed as probably, definitely not as well versed as Jesse. Probably not as well versed as anyone here, really. But like, I really just enjoy them. And I get picked on because my favorite musical is Phantom of the Opera.
There are worse ones to have.
people hate on me a lot for that. Andrew Lloyd Webber, people
Jekyll
feel some
and
kind
Hyde.
of way. Yeah. No, I love musicals. I wish I had more of a voice for it and more of a skill set for it, but I love them. And then as far as comic books, I mean, those go as far back as I can possibly remember. I think I had comic books before I was able to read. I was fortunate in that my father was very much a comic book fan. Like he grew up reading Superman and reading like Marvel Comics stuff, like, X-Men and Fantastic Four and Hulk and all that stuff. And like, he kind of, like as adults do, he stepped away from it. But, when I came around and my older brother came around, like it was an opportunity for him to sort of like share some of that stuff with us. So I think he encouraged our interest in superheroes and all that stuff. So like, yeah, I have Batman comics that probably go back to like, before I could read. And then like Superman is just a household thing. Cause like, my dad's favorite superhero was Superman. So, I love Superman. He's in my top 5 favorite superheroes. He's not my favorite, but he's up there. And I think that, I think the last thing I'll say is that I'm a huge Superman like apologist, I guess, if you will, because like I think a lot of people label the character boring. And I'm like, you guys just haven't had a chance to read the good stuff. So,
I also am a big fan of Superman. I'm in preparation for James Gunn's film next year. I am really taking eye towards it, especially like some of the newer stuff, like My Adventures with Superman and all that, which I think is great.
Yes.
I equate him to like Jean Valjean if I'm going to talk in theater for a moment, which is it's much harder to live life as a good person than it is to be a morally gray person. So someone that has like high morals that are put in really tough choices is much more compelling to me than say, an anti-hero.
Agreed.
But, Andrew, what is your history with Superman? Do you have any deep connection with him?
I actually do. I
What?
had a very old it was like a DVD compilation that you would get at like Dollar Tree of old cartoons. And they had those old like 30s Superman cartoons.
Max
the ones that are, like,
Fleischer?
Yes.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. This amazing stranger from the planet Krypton. The Man of Steel. Superman.
Yeah,
Oh my
those ones that are
God.
like really well animated. I watched the shit out of those and they were excellent. And honestly, yeah, I think Superman is a really cool character. I think it's fun just having a dude who's just a good guy. He's just good.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't see that often anymore because it's so easy to just be like, well, no one in the world is actually just good.
Mm-hmm,
But maybe Superman is.
No. Wait. Andrew, I see your pitch, but what if he just snapped a bunch of necks?
Oh, shit. What if he was Jesus?
Oh,
brilliant.
man. Yeah.
What?
Just groundbreaking there.
Life changing.
No one would have thought of that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no one was.
Genius.
And you know what? Kill him, bring him back,
Yeah.
make him do a lot of more murders.
I think
Let's go.
Superman right now gets a really bad rap from his movies.
Yeah.
Like he had that good movie in the 70s, but he hasn't had a good one in a while.
It's been rough going if you're a Superman fan and you go to the theaters often. So like I'm trying not to take this thing all the way off the rails, but like real quick, like just the fact that he has been made into a Jesus allegory, like, I mean, shout out to Richard Donner for doing like justice to Superman and giving us a solid, good movie. I honestly don't think we would have good superhero movies if we didn't get that first, Richard Donner film. But I think that messed people up because Richard Donner infusing a lot of Jesus iconography into the character. It's lasted. People think that that's like inherent.
What he's supposed to be.
Yeah. But if you do the history, two Jewish guys created him. He's a Moses allegory more than anything.
Yeah.
So
Baby down the river.
Yeah, exactly.
And really, he doesn't have to be either of those things.
Agreed. Agreed.
You could just do Superman and it would work.
And it depends what decade you're writing him in, because he's an allegory for everything that you could think of under the sun, depending on who's writing it. So
Immigrants, all that.
Yeah.
I am curious what everyone's thought. Like, I think the worst analysis of Superman is the Kill Bill one, where David Carradine's like, "That's him making fun of us humans, and because he's better than us." And I'm like, that has ruined everyone on Superman forever. Thank you, Quentin Tarantino. You've ruined everything. Liz, what is your history of Superman, if you have any?
So you can see my background over there. Not much.
You're a Batman girl.
I'm a Batman girl. I watched the 66 show when I was 8 on TV Land and reruns because I'm a nerd. It came on once a week and I ran to the TV to watch it. So I love Batman a lot, but I've seen Man of Steel.
The best one, obviously.
Unfortunately, I have to say is my first Superman movie. And I'm so sorry to say that publicly.
Is that even really a Superman movie?
It's a Superman movie in the same way that I Am Legend is, meaning the logo's there.
Yeah.
I feel like Steel is more of a Superman movie than Man of Steel.
I will say this just because, I like being fair in my assessments of people. I think there are things about Superman that Zack Snyder did get as far as the world of Superman. I thought it's the most compelling Jor-El and Zod I've ever seen. Their motivations were a lot clearer and a lot more believable.
Of course he understands the villains.
Yeah, he's evil. That's why. His understanding of good people is good people.
There are also things about Superman that kind of worked. They're not fleshed out because, Zack Snyder does that. So I like that he almost kind of is reminiscent of the Max Fleischer Superman in that he says very little. He shows up, he helps people and punches things and then, kind of fucks off, and I think there's a cool aesthetic to the film, but otherwise I was very disappointed.
The issue I have with it is definitely the does he want to help people?
Yeah.
Why is that a question?
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a question. He's Superman. He wants to help people.
Yeah,
it
it's
didn't
not
make sense.
major league script issues. I just want to get the movie and re-edit the whole thing in a different order to make it make more sense. Genuinely, just keep the same thing as make it a different order. Because maybe it'll be slightly better.
He did good work in Dawn of the Dead. If only we just take the writer of that film and then make him write and direct a Superman, we might have something good one day.
Also, Jess, to answer your question about the first comic book based show,
yes,
it is actually not this one. By 2 months, it's a different show. It's the Mad Show. It was an off-Broadway show based on Mad Magazine with lyrics by Mary Rogers and Stephen Sondheim.
That's dope.
No, I don't believe you. I don't think it's off Broadway. So I'll add the asterisk.
Broadway, so it wasn't a Broadway.
Broadway show.
The first musical.
It's Mad Magazine.
The first musical based on a comic book ever is the Mad Show from January of 1966.
Tall and slender, conduct like an Apollo. He goes walking by and I have to follow him. The boy from Tacarembo, La Tumba del Fuego, Santa Malipa, Zacatecas, La Junta del Sol y Cruz.
God, am I gonna have to find that fucking show?
What's wild to me is that like it's a bird, it's a plane made it to Broadway.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, that's where it started.
It started on Broadway.
Okay.
And it was well reviewed.
Yeah, that's also interesting.
And let me say this. They put on an Encore's revival in 2013, and that was also well reviewed.
Wait, I'm sorry. This Mad Show thing is kind of driving me crazy right now. This is not credited on Stephen Sondheim's like Wikipedia or anything.
It's on here. And Stephen Sondheim is that Stephen Sondheim because I've clicked on his Wikipedia so goddamn much for this show.
It's because he wrote one fucking song from it. He wrote the boy
he
from.
did!
Yeah, it's not a musical. It's just a play.
It's a play with songs. My bad. I'm sending out false information. I
Get outta here.
apologize.
Get out of here! Get off the show!
Back to Superman. Yes, this made it to Broadway. Yes, it was well reviewed. But the version that we saw is kind of its lasting legacy. That aired two times. It aired once originally, then the rerun, and then was kind of taken off airways for basically ever. It is not a one-to-one with what the stage musical was.
Okay. That makes sense.
Which is fine, but also a bit of a problem. So you know the big horde of bad guys
Yes.
that we see throughout? Like,
yes.
Yeah, the Italian stereotypes, yes.
well, they were a different kind of stereotype in the stage musical, which is not as fun. And I'm trying to figure out what it is so I don't...
It's okay to make fun of Italians, but not everybody.
Not everybody. You can make fun of Italians.
It was... I'm pretty sure it was Asians. It was like an Asian...
That would track. That would track.
Yeah, it was not the best representation. So when they brought it to TV, they just made it just general bad guys. And when they revived it in 2013, they made it Canadians.
That's
great.
really
I love
fun.
that.
The Canadians are the best people to make fun of because they don't care.
That's probably one of the that's one of the earlier observations I just watched this afternoon.
Yes.
And so like one of the earlier observations I had was that while stilted and obviously a product of its era, it does make strains to be more conscious of minorities and such, like in the way that they handle subject matter, at least the way that they talk about it. Like I remember at the end, like Bro has a line about like, when Abe freed the brothers or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. I was just like, well,
Did he say that?
There are other ways he could have said that would have been way worse. So I will give them their credit for that. But it's just interesting to observe that because like it did seem like throughout it when they dealt with political things or targeted groups of people, they did try to be polite. Now, it is odd that there seems to be one black woman in all of Metropolis. Like the entire cast is white. And I was so thrown right at the top. The opening, the opening number with, that's the sort of the whole chorus, the whole gang's there. And like the ensemble's doing their thing. And like, I'm like, why is she here? Because I'm like, it's just weird that she's just like the only black person in Metropolis. Like, I almost rather there not be any black people in Metropolis, to be real with you. I would have thought
It's
less
a very
about
white
it.
city.
I would have thought less about it.
I do want to say, in context, it's 1975. This predates the Donner Superman movie.
Yes.
Like, this is technically the first incarnation of Superman.
I mean, kind of.
Well,
on screen.
The comic books and everything.
There's a bunch of other stuff before that.
Yeah. They did serials in the 1940s that were not good either. And they, they had tried. They had tried some things. Like Superman's gotten around. He was on radio, which. The fun thing about Superman is that, like to your point earlier, he's malleable. Like Superman and Batman are both over 80 years old, over 85, I think. And 1938 and 1939 respectively. And like, so Superman and Batman are up there, and they've been through so many different retellings and so many different forms of media that they've changed a lot. And sort of like any version of the character that you grasp onto is valid. So again, to the Zack Snyder fans, before the Zack Snyder fans come to get us all, which is fine. I'm ready.
Kill us.
I'm
Do it.
ready for the smoke.
Try.
I'm ready for the smoke.
They're not watching us. We have shit on Zack Snyder way too much.
They already made fun of Zack Snyder fans in the Wizard of Oz episode, so like they're clear out of here.
Great.
Our joke was that the entire movie's in black and white.
Yeah, I edited a video version of that. It was the
It
saddest moment
starts
of
in
my life.
color and they move to black and white.
And all in slow-mo. It's great.
Yeah,
And everyone
slow-mo.
is Jesus.
Everyone is. I mean, what I will say is that, you know, any iteration of the characters you fall in love with is technically valid. It may not be for me, but they're valid. And I'm just like, you know, what I wanted to point out is that Superman has really benefited from being in different things. Like a lot of his core quintessential superpowers that we think of didn't start in the comics. I think he wasn't able to fly until he went into animation because it was cheaper to just have him fly than to have him jump and land and jump and land. So it was just like a concession they made for the animation. And now it's like synonymous with Superman. You can't have Superman that doesn't fly. That's weird. So I think it's interesting.
We need a
about it.
superhero that does do that though. Like, is there any superheroes that just jump and land and jump and land?
The Hulk.
They just jump really far.
The Hulk does.
I guess the Hulk does do that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That is a Hulk thing. The Hulk does do that.
A lot
Miles
of
at
the
a time.
X-Men just kind of jump and land.
Yeah.
In various spots. I'm pretty sure.
Beast. You know.
Yeah, Beast loves to jump and land.
I'm pretty sure Little Orphan Annie's jumped before.
Oh, Little Orphan Annie can jump. Yeah, that's true.
She's a super. Yeah, she can also fly.
Well, she doesn't have pupils. I think that's a superpower.
The people behind It's a Bird Is a Plane are the people behind Annie, right? Did I hear that
Yes.
correctly? All right,
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
So on that level, I kind of get it. But I'm just going to jump in. Like, here's the thing that I have with this show. And from
Let's go.
from a fan perspective of both.
Takes itself too seriously.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, that's the
problem with this musical.
It's
too serious.
funny. It's funny because that's obviously the opposite issue. Because like, here's the thing. I don't think it works. I want to know who they were making this for. And I don't ask that question a lot because I feel like art should just be art and you should just make it and whoever it connects with, it connects with. But from a business standpoint, you know, showbiz, you know, is the business of making art. So like, what were they thinking? Like, because on one level, they treat this like Superman's a children's character, which he is. And like, you know, we're gonna make it
They
hokey.
treat it like Superman's a child, though.
Yeah, they treat him like an actual baby. Like,
Yeah, and I'm
they
just
saw
like-
he's wearing underwear. It's like, oh, that's a diaper, right? Okay,
Right.
he's a baby.
And like they treat this like, okay, it's all like, you know, campy and childish fun. But I'm like, he tries to kill himself. Like, this clearly wasn't aimed at the children. And it clearly wasn't aimed at like comic book fans or anything. They didn't give a shit about that. They made clear they don't give a shit about that. And then like, as a musical theater experience, now again, this is the TV 1975 version, but as a musical experience, it's like, these aren't bops. Like, you know, the story isn't doing anything. Like, why are we here?
I think I can answer the question.
Yes, please.
I think I can answer
please.
it. They made it for me.
I respect that. I really do, actually.
Because this is the most cheesy schlock you could possibly. I think what really makes this is the villains are like it's like they're Columbo villains or something. You know, like they have this elaborate scheme, and Superman is just this all-powerful force that they need to take down, and he's a baby. He just acts like a baby, and it's so bizarre.
Yeah,
it's captivating.
Honestly, I felt like it was. I wanna know, and I know you guys have covered some of Joss Whedon's musical stuff. I wonder if Dr. Horrible is slightly inspired by this, because Captain Hammer and this incarnation of Superman seem way too similar for my comfort. Like, you know, just sort of egotistical and like, you know, self-absorbed and like pouting when they get depowered or don't get their way or whatever. I was like, this is really interesting. This is such a. I think my problem with the show as a whole is that like I don't mind taking shots at comics. Like I've been a comic book fan my whole life, and you know what? There's a lot of nonsense in comics. There's plenty to work with. There's plenty of comedic material you could draw from that. Some of my favorite iterations of the characters are like the Robot Chicken specials where they do DC Comics stuff. And I'm like, yeah, like you could absolutely make fun of these characters. I know the Harley Quinn cartoon out right now is pretty much in a comedic vein. They don't take anything seriously about Batman and all that stuff. And I'm cool with it. My problem with this show is that it fails to be a proper spoof or parody. I think it's bad parody because, in my opinion, what separates this from, like, say, like the 1966 Batman series is that the 1966 Batman series, yes, they know it's ridiculous, but they play it straight and they commit. This show does a lot of like winking at the audience. I don't mind fourth wall breaking, but I think this show is a little too self-aware, and I think they're trying to tell me when to laugh, and I think that always falls flat. That's why I didn't have as much fun. Because like even as just like a comedic takeoff of Superman, I was just like, they're leading the jokes. I feel like they're not just like buying into the world and playing it straight, which is what I love about classic parody, like what Leslie Nielsen used to do back in the day.
I think they named the show wrong. It shouldn't be called Superman. It should be called Dr. Sedgwick.
Dr. Sedgwick.
Sedgwick, Superman's arch enemy.
I love Dr. Sedgwick. He's my favorite Superman character.
I do think the villains are the thing that makes this show for me.
Yeah.
Superman does essentially nothing. He's barely a character in his own show.
Yeah.
To the point where the running gag is that no one knows that he's there.
I love Lois Lane just being like, "Oh, you're here still? Oh, fuck."
Yeah.
but Dr. Sedgwick and Max, I think it's Max, right?
Max,
yeah.
And then the three Italians.
Yeah. Also,
like,
originally they were Chinese acrobats. Jess, you were right.
I didn't
not
like
the
that.
Chinese, not Chinese acrobats.
Mafia
when they
men.
were Italiano.
It's okay to make
The
fun of
three-
Italians.
Yes.
It's all good.
Sedgwick, Max, and the Mario Brothers. Those guys were hilarious.
Yeah. No, legit.
I love Waluigi in this. He's great.
It's finally good to have a superhero villain with a motive I can get behind. Destroying Sweden.
Destroying Sweden because you didn't get the Nobel Prize.
Well, no. He wants to take over Superman's role and take over America so he can use American resources to destroy Sweden.
Take over the
down
world.
for that.
He said he was like, I literally want to take over the world.
Well,
So,
Max wants to take over the world, and he wants to take over Sweden.
No, he wants to take over the world, but that's like the second step of
yes,
his plan.
step one is get rid of Superman because he's just a problem. Step two is take over the world. Step three is yes.
The end goal is to destroy Sweden.
Sweden, yes.
Did anyone recognize the actor playing Max?
I looked it up. I'm cheating.
You're not allowed to answer that. Anyone else?
He looked familiar, but no, I did not know who he was.
When I say the name Kenneth Mars, does that ring true to either of you? Comedy legend Kenneth Mars from things like Young Frankenstein and the dad from The Little Mermaid.
and the Nazi and the producers.
Yes, and from 1,000 Land Before Time movies before his very, very recent-ish
Shout
death.
out to him. You know, again, going back to like good parody and stuff, like, you know, he
I think
comes from that.
I think to your point though, I think you're right. This isn't like a great parody of Superman. And what this really reminds me of more so than like the 60s Batman is actually Batman and Robin. Which is like it's like comic book fans hate that because it's like mocking comic books almost, but not in a way that's like laughing with them. It's almost like laughing at them.
I kind of love Batman and Robin, though.
Jess.
See, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I think that you can watch Batman and Robin and have a good time.
Yeah.
But if you're a Batman fan, you're not gonna.
No.
I mean,
no, I didn't.
I honestly think, you know, like Batman and Robin's problem is that like it's just boring. It's just like a bunch of nonsense. There are like two scenes in that movie I like. There's a moment where they're chasing Mr. Freeze off some bridge or whatever, which all the architecture is like Greek gods because, like, you know, Schumacher was
comic books.
Like
that's what comic books are.
I love
Schumacher.
him for it. You know, but like Batman, like ejects himself from the Batmobile and does like a flip over the city, and I'm like, you know what? Say what you want, but like Keaton's Batman never got to do stuff like that. Like he wasn't acrobatic and agile and
Well, he couldn't move his head.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, he couldn't move his head.
Exactly.
His neck was
Exactly.
straight. So he had to go like
Schumacher always captured the athleticism. Like even in Batman Forever, like Kilmer jumps in and does like backflips and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah. As a comic book fan, I was like, yeah. The only other scene I like is it's like Bruce Wayne and Alfred talking, and Alfred's just like basically telling him like you can't control life and death just because you're Batman. Like it's just impossible. And I was like, that's a real moment. It's good.
And as like a person that's like watched so much of the Batman show, like Batman, that's my first Batman. That's my pinnacle Batman for me. Like I don't even the Dark Batman. I don't like most of them. They're just like laughable. They're like Pete Holmes Batman to me sometimes. Like
Oh no.
like I just want to laugh. I'm like, stop with your bullshit, Christian Bale.
Not to be the guy. Oh, sorry, Liz.
Oh, but I was just gonna say, as a person that like understands the original '60s show, it's like, no. They know it was stupid, but it's like you said earlier, they're taking it dead seriously. But
Yeah.
Batman and Robin is like, wink, wink. See, remember the Adam West show? We're doing that. Please laugh.
Oh,
Please
man.
laugh.
I
Please
think-
laugh.
It's a Jeb Bush of comic book
Yeah, it's
movies.
the Jeb Bush.
I really do think Schumacher made a legitimate effort, but like the system he was in and like he knew what he signed up to make. Like
I
they
did
asked
enjoy
him-
the ice puns though.
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
fun. I can't hate those.
Nah, shout out to Joel
I
Schumacher.
quote them all the time.
I can
May
go.
he rip in peace.
Yes,
Back
I
credit
definitely
card.
give him a lot of credit, and like someday I'll do a whole video about like how he was, how cool he actually was, because like people gave him the hardest time. Like he killed comic books and Batman, and I'm like, calm down, calm down,
Calm down, y'all.
He couldn't even kill Jim Carrey's career with that one movie. So it's like,
Which one?
the 23, the number 23, wasn't that him?
Liz's
I
favorite
love-
movie?
I love that
I
movie.
love that movie.
I have a
It's
very-
so terrible.
I
It's
love
so
it.
trash.
My sister was obsessed with the number 23 to the point where she like would like look at conspiracies in my own house. Be like, see, that adds up to 23. Like my older sister, and it's like, my God.
Is your
And
older
then-
sister Jim Carrey in real life?
No,
Can you
she's
explain
not.
to me why pink is 23? Like just briefly, why is pink 23? Can
Well, if you
explain
look
that?
up the code of the paint, and you add up the numbers individually into an equation, it adds up to 23.
You know
What
what else
shade
adds
of
up
pink?
to 23? the wonderful folks over on Letterboxd.com. It's time for our favorite mini game, the 1-star,
Oh my God.
5-star game. This is where we take real Letterboxd reviews, and Andrew, you are going head to head with Phil, and we're gonna read real Letterboxd reviews, and you have to guess just based on the review alone whether it's a 1-star or 5-star. All right, are we ready? Did I explain well enough?
Yeah.
All right, Liz, whose team do you want to be on?
I get to pick?
Yeah.
What? I'll go with Phil. I'll go with Phil.
Thank you. Thank you.
Andrew, you're first because we gotta start.
That means I get all the hard ones. Jess is
Yeah,
gonna give me
Phil got the easy ones.
It's
Just look
impossible
at
to
Andrew
have.
the hard one.
I don't think these are. Andrew, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
He flew my asthmatic son to Albuquerque.
What?
He flew my asthmatic son to Albuquerque.
That's probably a line from the show, but I
is.
can't remember it.
I
Pepper
don't
Sean
remember.
remembers.
Okay. All right.
The
All right.
North
5
and-
stars because it's a line from the show.
You are wrong, sir. Fuck.
That theory doesn't work
Oh.
sometimes.
Man,
Jess, one of these reviews is missing a rating.
No, it's just on the next thing.
Wait, it is? Oh, I see. Might be. All right. Phil, are you ready?
yes.
Superman will destroy himself.
They say that 900 times.
Superman will destroy himself.
Superman will
It
destroy
stops being
himself.
funny after like the
This-
second time, and they just keep going.
Yeah.
But then on the 50th time, it becomes funny again. It slingshots around
It's a
the fucking
circle.
Earth like Superman does in the first
Yeah,
Superman
it's-
movie,
yeah, it's
and it
time
becomes
travel.
hilarious.
It's a loop. I'm gonna say this is 1 star.
That is actually a 5.
Dang, I could have gone either way because it's a line from the show, so they loved it. Okay, cool.
Andrew,
Yep.
if you ever want to see Superman curled up in a ball and crying because a supervillain hurt his feelings, this made for TV musical is for you.
Look, like you can shit talk it all you want, but how else is Dr. Sedgwick supposed to hurt Superman? His death ray didn't do anything. The only thing he can do is hurt his feelings.
Superman will destroy himself.
My goodness. My goodness.
Gaslight Superman. That's the plot.
We're gonna go with We're gonna go with 5 stars.
That's a 1, Andrew. You are failing at life, and you should feel
My
bad.
God. It's because you're giving me all the hard ones. Fuck you, dude.
Why have over 300 people bothered to review this on Letterboxd? My God. Anyway.
It's pretty wild, right?
Why?
That's nuts. I thought it'd be like 102. All right, Phil, are you ready?
I am.
Swedish Meatballs. Also, this was progressive for its time for having 2 gay men as villains in a comic book musical.
That's pretty progressive.
That's progressive.
No, I'm gonna say 5-star.
That's actually a 1.
No, fair
Wow,
enough.
this is a 0 for 0 game so far.
This is awful.
It's still anyone's game.
Anyone can win.
Anybody can get 1 point.
Andrew.
Yep.
Why wasn't this version of Superman in The Flash?
He was.
Valid
You just didn't notice. He was in one of the flashby scenes, you know?
He was in the microwave with the babies.
Yeah, he helped save the
really
babies.
closely.
Unironically, the guy who played this, David Wilson, is the one actor. Oh, sorry. Is the only living live action actor, the eldest one, the eldest living live action actor to play Superman.
They could have got him. They could have had him in there.
Yeah.
He's still around. He's still posted. She's still acting in things. Like,
Good for him.
like if you
He could be Superman again.
James Gunn,
James
fuck
Gunn.
David Cornswell,
Call him.
Get the real Superman.
This is
fuck
the good
Jack
Superman.
Wade, fuck all these people that can pretend to be Superman when the real one that cried like a baby
I mean-
after being.
After peeing his diaper.
I mean, Jack Quaid could do that, but I also have a giant.
they clearly are keen to keep milking Crisis on Infinite Earths in every medium they can possibly fit it into. So why not? Just do it in this universe as well.
Phil, are you as sick of multiverses as I am? I feel like it really ran its course hard.
They've abused it. It's heartbreaking for me because as a classic sci-fi fan, like I grew up with it just being a regular thing. Like, you know, that's just like classic sci-fi storytelling, Star Trek and like, even old science fiction novels and stuff. Like the multiverse has just been around. It's weird that we suddenly just got fixated on it and blew it up at one time. I was just like, this is weird.
It's different now. So when like Star Trek did it, they invented a new multiverse with different characters. When they're doing it now, they're just like, oh, well, what if we brought in our other properties and other versions of the same character? And it's like, okay.
Okay.
Space
Andrew,
Laser.
I
Give me
know,
the question again.
I'm just going to read another question for Andrew.
Fucking what? Okay.
No business like show business.
I'm going to go...
Superman will
I'm
destroy
going to go
himself.
with 5, even though it's been wrong the
You
last time.
have got a point there, buddy.
Hey,
You're in the lead.
Hey.
You could tie this.
No pressure.
All right. Are you ready?
I am.
Superman the musical.
That's it. That's the review.
That's the whole review.
That's fantastic. I love that these are super ambiguous.
None of these are made up, by the way.
Yeah,
None of these
all
are
real.
generated.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely I do believe you. I'm gonna say 5-star anyways. I'm just gonna play that card.
You're right. You tied.
This is a tied
Hey.
game. Much like Superman, you are two evenly matched with your equal opposites.
Superman
It's like
will destroy
Superman and
himself.
Bizarro. Superman will destroy himself.
Like Superman and Superman.
Yes.
Superman will destroy himself.
Speaking of destroying yourselves, how about we go into a mid-show then talk about some of these classic songs? Hey, fuckers, I'm glad to interrupt the show. You don't deserve it. Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by these motherfuckers over at Patreon. Andrew, what's Patreon?
Patreon's where you could go to give us money, and also we have extra content on there. We got like commentaries and stuff, and I don't know. You can get our episodes, the video version, so you can see our guests dancing around. You know.
Yeah, Phil's
You
doing
also get-
elaborate choreography right now.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like a mime.
Yeah,
Look at that.
he's being a mime.
Oh, he's trapped
Oh
in a
my
box.
god.
Oh my god. The wind
We
is
have an
blowing him
actual
away.
dancer here.
I'm trapped in a box too.
Oh no, I'm trapped
Oh,
in a
no.
box too.
Oh no.
Our great prop comedy is missed on you audio people, so you'll have to come see us over at Patreon. And also, most of our episodes get about 20 minutes cut out of them, and a lot of it is gold that Andrew thinks will get us in trouble, so... Go check us out over there. But the people currently supporting us on Patreon include, but are not limited to, Danielle Renix, Justice Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Nathaniel Stacey Coombe, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Kyle Summers, Janae C, Scoot and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, John Vanals, Thespian, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Chris Marcotte, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Trevi Joseph, RJ Noriga, Julia McLennan, Joe, Bjorn Hermans, Toriana Frazier, Sammy the Adequate Amount Jacobson, Kaylee Blazier, Villainous Miss, The Omega Geek, Paige Pearson, Maddie Wargle, Elisa Erdman, Anna Loskatova, Sarah Den Blecker, Evan Ball, Zachary Torres, Rora Marasso, Mara, Lisa L, Possessed Washing Machine, Nick Roten, Puffy Boy, Sydney Hicks, Billy Clifton, Cold Plated, Kiki Mora, Aria Arti, Emma, Cara Balda, JRL Studios, Catherine Shawcross, Alexandra, Dom, and Patrick, but with a K. They all support us over at Patreon. Come join us. And also we have a lot of cool stuff like our Discord group. We have monthly-ish Patreon meetups where we all hang out and play games. And you get to see our beautiful faces and see what terrible outfit choices I pick for the day. I look like everyone's dad coming home from the factory right now. And you're missing out on that if you're not seeing it. Let's get on to the show and talk about these songs. The show is strangely opening not with their ensemble number, which is what would make sense, but with Superman's solo number doing good.
Every man has a job to do, and my job is doing good. Every night when the job is through, I fold my tights, proud to know I've done all I could. It's a satisfying feeling when you hang up your cape to know that you've averted murder, larceny, and rape. Every man has his job to do. Well, back into the old Clark Kent disguise. I'll never stop doing good.
It's so baffling because A, the song's not particularly good, no pun intended, and B, it's not an I want song. Superman needs for nothing. It's just, here I am, everybody, I'm Superman, but I'm also Clark Kent.
That's because Superman's kind of not the main character.
No,
Yeah.
he's not.
You know?
Yeah,
no,
he's
it's
He
the
not.
craves
doctor.
nothing. He needs nothing. He has something and then they take it away. I am compelled by Phil's comparison to Dr. Horrible because I am so much more in relationship to Dr. Sedgwick and his desire to destroy Sweden than anything Superman is doing.
Yeah, exactly. It's clearly.
Can
It's
someone-
Dr. Sedgwick is the only one who wants to do anything.
Can someone bring Dr. Sedgwick to the Superman canon, please? Like, I would love to see that. Like, please.
Yeah, it's like I mean, him and Max, like they have like an actual like arc ish. I think my thing is, I think the only character I latched onto right away was the other reporter there, not Lois.
Sydney.
Sydney, thank you. Yes, I thought she was great throughout, start to finish.
Yes.
I thought she was fun. I thought she had a brain. I thought like she like legitimately like knew who she was and like took no shit and like was. I thought she had the best song in my opinion as well.
Is it You've Got Possibilities?
Yeah, I think that one, and I'm torn between that one and like the mobster one because the mobster one was interesting for other reasons.
Haircut, simply terrible. Necktie, the worst. Bearing, just unbearable. What to tackle first? Still, you've got possibilities, though you're horribly square. I see possibilities underneath. There's something there. Collar, pure Peoria, that hat. Oh no, I'm not Queen Victoria. This suit has to go. Still, you've got possibilities. Let us give it a try. I see possibilities, maybe more than me.
I do want to talk about You've Got Possibilities, so that is a fairly good transition. That song has such a history outside of the show. You have the Pillsbury Doughboy commercial. You have the thousands. If you look it up, there's so many people singing this at 54 Below. It has become an audition staple. Wow. And like when they, a few years ago, right before Hal Prince died, they did a little review of all the shows he directed called Prince of Broadway. And the only relic of the show in it is them singing You've Got Possibilities, where Janet DeCall fucking nails that song. And let me play a little bit of that, because I think like it just shows like how much that song works and everything else fails. This could have been a musical. Like, this shows the potential of some of the stuff here. It's
such a weird song too.
Yeah,
to have
it's
in this
so
show.
weird.
I think that is absolutely the best song of the show, and not just because it lived on, but like it was fun to listen to. It was well performed, and I think the thing about it is, it's the one song that leans into the musical that they're doing. Like, I don't know that this show takes full advantage of the category or genre that it's in, just because like the songs are mostly forgettable. That one works because it feels kind of like a classic musical theater piece, which is probably why it works so well outside of the show and has a life.
It also feels like a song that doesn't belong in a Superman show. It's like, it's just kind of a song that like a female lead would sing to the guy and they're like, oh, well, you're not for me, but like, you've got this going on and this going on. But it's for some reason it's in the Superman show.
Yeah. It's the favorite part about. Oh, sorry,
no, go ahead.
Phil,
No. You.
Oh, I have some very stupid observation. My favorite part about that song is they point out his tie is bad, so he should not wear the tie anymore. He continues to wear the tie the rest of the show, and he never changes his outfit. He doesn't get a makeover. He's like, oh, I'm confident. Yeah, and that's it.
He only owns two outfits, and he wears them both at the same time.
He's like, shit, I gotta go to work. Let me put on my clothes or my Superman outfit.
I mean, that's in stark comparison to a song like Revenge, which is Sedgwick's song, which sounds like he's making up the lyrics as he's singing it.
In 1949, I thought I had it made. My work in light diffusion put my colleagues in the shade. But then my hopes were shattered by some Hindu in Ceylon. They gave the prize in physics to Sir Chandra V. Raman. To work on light diffusion, the Raman effect. Damn it, it should have been the Sedgwick effect! Revenge, I'll have it on them all. No single slight will I forget. I'll show no mercy, you can bet. They'll all get theirs the day I get revenge.
That just goes to show what we're working with, and we have such talent involved in this. Hal Prince, Charles Strauss, and everyone's bungling the bag right here.
Also, the best part of this song is like it doesn't even end during the actual show. Like they cut to a cliffhanger. It's like the announcer's like, "What does Doctor want the most in life? Come for the next chapter." And then it just like he sings the last note and they move on.
That's a repeated gag though.
Yeah,
they keep doing. They're singing something or saying something, and then they're like, and then the announcer's like, "Oh man, what is it that they want?" And it's just like, well, they just said it like 10 times.
Yeah, they said it 80 times, and then it's like, "Come for the next chapter, revenge," and it's like, "Oh, you just gave away the game."
Who will destroy Superman?
No, and I thought that gag. It almost worked. As a comic book fan, I'm like, I get what you're getting at. Like comic books all the time in the olden days would end with like, you know, I thought The Simpsons had the best version of it. Like there's an episode of like where Radioactive Man in a Radioactive Man show or whatever, like the world literally like blows up in half. Like, and they're like, can Radioactive Man act in time to save the Earth? And I'm like, yes, I mean, comic books did stuff like that, you know, and I get what they were doing, but I was just like, it wore thin throughout this show. I was like, I don't think it's a good enough joke. I don't think it's strong enough.
I feel like none of the jokes are really that strong in here. Andrew, you're the only one with context for this. Did you recognize the actress playing Lois Lane?
Absolutely. I'm terrible with this.
I know.
I don't recognize faces or names.
Very distinctive voice, very distinctive face, and you hated them in the last thing we watched. I thought she was lovely.
Oh, God.
Do you remember Victor Victoria and the wife, the girlfriend they have to get rid of in that one?
Victor Victoria?
That was a while ago.
I don't remember that. I'll be honest.
Leslie Ann Warren, one of the great comic actresses of all time, but forever like nails on chalkboard to my brain is her just moaning, "I'm horny" at like the highest pitch that she can muster, and truly, as soon as I saw her on screen, that's all I heard in my brain is like her being like, "I'm horny."
That woman was nominated for Academy Award for being horny. Thank you very much.
Good for her. She was. I don't like it.
She almost did say that about Superman in this.
I mean,
I'm horny.
Come close.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As close you can get in this.
Yeah.
He's a good kisser.
Again, this straddles weird lines. Like, it's like they put in two gay, supervillains kind of. And they make some the gangster song. One of the reasons it stood out to me is because it actually had something to say about American politics, no gun control, and America's great because it's corrupt, essentially, is the point of that song. We need to get rid of Superman because he might accidentally fix that. But if otherwise, America's great. And I'm just see, this show has ideas, and then it throws them away.
It's a swell country, land of opportunity. It's a swell country for hoods like you and me.
Our nation's founding fathers. I really love those guys, 'cause they're the guys what came up with free enterprise.
It's a rich country full of old and trusting souls. It's a swell country without no gun controls. It's a swell country, every man is on his own. You can reach greatness.
Just look at Al Capone. Our lawyers are terrific. They know just what to try. Our politicians are the best that you can buy. If the feds grab you, you can always cop a plea. It's a swell country from sea to shining sea.
I want you to remember the context of that was not always supposed to be Americans singing about how great America is. That was about Asian people singing about how great America is.
That's true. But it's not anymore.
Also, wasn't that not in the show originally? Didn't they write that for this movie?
They very well might have. What song was that?
I don't remember the name.
Let me double check. The song "It's a Great Country." Yeah, they wrote this for the TV show.
That
was
sense.
Not in the stage production.
Yeah, I also noticed in that earlier in that scene they referenced Marlon Brando, which I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely 1975.
Before he was very tied in with the Superman world.
Yeah. They made some commentary about making mobsters look bad or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay, got you. I think this show is it's just like a mess of ideas. I think if they had just stuck to the rules of comedy and just played the reality of it all, maybe it would have played better for me. But I think ultimately it's just a very weird and distracted takeoff of everything about Superman comics. I'm like, oh, they're going to touch on Lois Lane and how there's nothing for her to do other than be mooning over Superman. Cool. And they don't do anything with it. I'm just they just kind of point it out and they move on. I'm like, all right, well, there's no gag there. It's actually, this isn't fun. I just was, it's such a weird thing. The last thing I'll say though, is Superman himself. I'm very curious what the direction was or the idea was, because the way he's played, not even just the way he's written, the actor plays him like he's so bored. He feels throughout the show he's just I kind of don't want to be here. And like there's just like an energy in his performance that feels very much like this is nothing about being Superman or Clark Kent is particularly interesting to him.
He's got a very bad wig.
Yeah, the wig is terrible.
It reminds me of Lasagna Cat.
Well, also his costume is terrible because it like goes way too low in his chest in a way that looks like he lost weight and it's stretched. It's like a little too much chest and he has no hair, so it's like weirdly creepy. Like it made me uncomfortable. Also, the cape rips off.
Oh yeah, like easily.
It's like
Oh no. Well, I do want to talk about one last song before we wrap this on up, and that is Pow Bam Zonk, which is one of Superman's like 4 songs. Which...
Come on, pow, let's go, bam! I need a little exercise. Take that pow and that zonk. Let's see what you can do. You boys, pow, a good bam. I like a crook who really tries. Come on, pow, let's go, wham! You'll learn a trick or two. Gee, it's funny that only a moment ago, pow, bam, zonk! I doubted myself, and all that was right. But now I see the light. Oh no, whack, you don't wham! I'll show you babies who I am. Pow, whack, zonk, crunch, bam!
there's a part of that song where one of the henchmen like accidentally hits their like head on his butt and then gets knocked over, and that's what's burned in my skull.
That's the Zonk.
That's the Zonk. It's his thick ass.
I will say this. That is the only song I've heard at least a piece of before watching this. Cause like that's
what?
Yeah, like no, cause like whenever they go like do history of Superman stuff, and if they include the musical, that's the clip they use. So like I was like, oh yeah.
They don't show the one where Superman wants to kill himself.
That would have been more interesting. That might have got more investment from an audience. But no, I will say this about that scene. It's like, other than being the only one that I recognized ahead of time, I actually like the choreography of that scene. Like for a musical fight scene with an invulnerable guy, like I thought it was like there's some really amazing athleticism going on in there. Like there's this part where he like flips some, like guys over and like they flip over each other repeatedly or something. And like I just thought like the gags were actually pretty good. It doesn't make sense why Superman's just like throwing fisticuffs with gangsters, but like that part, yeah, I thought that was actually really neat. It's like really, it's played for laughs and it's like really athletic and difficult to do. And I was like, all right, yeah.
All right, just can someone explain to me why they forgot everything? Did he use like his memory erasing ray?
Yeah, the evil people get amnesia at the end, and that's why they don't know.
I can't
who
remember
Clark
the reason
Kent
they
is.
gave.
Well, I remember there being a thing in Superman 2 where he makes out with Lois Lane and then she forgets being impregnated with his child in Superman Returns. So
that's because he uses his tongue to reach up into her brain. And like...
That's what he did with all them. They just cut away and he's making out with every one of these gangsters.
That is one of my favorite gags from the Robot Chicken special, where he's just like,
is that Robot?
Like they're like, yeah, no, like they're like they had this power in Superman 2 the movie. Why does he never use it? And they're just like, why not? And he's just making out with Brainiac and everybody else. He has to come up again because it's the easy way out. But I did want to actually touch on this. I was interested in the fact that this came out in 1975, and there's a comic book that I looked up in 1978, Superman number 330. Not that anyone cares. In which he develops a power called secret. Well, I don't think it's the name, but it's basically secret identity vision. Basically, they explain that like he uses some sort of like ability to modulate his physiology, but also like the glass of his spectacles, like his glasses plus some weird vision he had the power to make people not recognize that Clark Kent looks a lot like Superman. It was like an unnecessary, extraneous explanation for why he gets away with the glasses and suit routine, and they used it once and they never came back to it because it was dumb. But I was just curious when I watched this because they make a bit out of, oh, we didn't know you were here. So I was like, oh, is this where this comes from? Because like it almost feels like people have this supernatural inability to recognize that Clark Kent's even in the room. So I thought that was fun.
That's incredible.
It's a superpower.
Oh yeah, yeah. The comic Superman super hypnotizes all of Metropolis to keep his citizens from falling under the control of Spellbinder. That's the
everyone's favorite Superman villain. Before we move on to our cheese ratings, I do want to share some quotes from David Patrick Wilson, who played Superman, and he, in recent years, especially in 2020, he was giving a lot of quotes out to people, just about his experience.
Okay.
One of them being, the producers didn't have a clue what they were doing, and that they only had a week to rehearse this entire special, and it was shot in 4 days. He remarked in this interview with Vulture that a lot of stuff was just improvised when we got there. He also said that Leslie Ann Warren brought friend Bette Midler to the screening of this film and said she was horrified. He also, like a few years later, auditioned for Superman with Richard Donner. Can we imagine?
Interesting.
What that would have been if Christopher Reeve did not play Superman.
Yeah.
Maybe more dancing.
Well, I mean, on the special features for I think the DVD for Superman the movie, they talk about the fact that Richard Donner only took on that movie because he read the script from Warner Brothers and was like, this is bad. Like, they're trying to do the 1966 Batman show, but they're not. This ain't it. And so he stepped in because he was a Superman fan. And he was like, I won't let you guys do this to Superman. I'll fix it. And that's kind of how we got a good Superman movie.
Well, I think it follows the trend of comic book films being done best by people coming from horror, because you've got the Sam Raimi, you've got James Gunn, you've got Richard Donner, who just did The Omen and followed it up with Superman.
Yeah,
and I think that's it. That's what you got to do.
Too. He did the
James
first
Wan.
He did the first Aquaman.
And Derek, oh god, motherfucker, who did Doctor Strange, the first one.
Fuck,
who
I don't
did
remember
Sinister.
him.
It's the best way to do it. So I don't agree. I love Nia DaCosta.
Derrickson.
Scott Derrickson. But I think the wrong move is to bring folks like Nia DaCosta, who had done things like Little Woods and and did a bad Candyman movie. I don't think they're the right people for comic book movies. Just go into horror, find some random nobody, and make them do it.
I think it's key to me that I think in the history of comic book adaptations in any medium, you need a team. You need somebody on the team who just knows how to do interesting storytelling. Regardless, and then you need somebody on the team that kind of has actually a pretty deep love for the thing. Say what you want about Bryan Singer, but Bryan Singer didn't really know X-Men or care about X-Men, but he got the storytelling beats because it meant something to him. But then they had Tom DeSantos on the team who just loved X-Men and was crazy about X-Men. Oh, you got to throw this in. I think those kind of partnerships usually yield, for my money, the most satisfying, because you need somebody who's willing to break the rules of comic books and say, this doesn't fit in our movie. I need it to be a good movie first and foremost. And you need somebody else to say, yeah, if you're going to do this character or these characters, you need to actually honor that.
You see, there are some times where I agree with that and other times where I disagree with that. I think Chris Nolan did his own thing with Batman, but I feel like Matt Reeves' take on Batman is more Batman.
No, I mean, Matt Reeves, they killed it by doing just a detective story, which is where Batman belongs. So I thought that was cool. Christopher Nolan did his own thing, but he also was a fan, and he did incorporate things that were just very Batman. But I think that's a whole other discussion.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But back to this show. What is our overall thoughts on It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman, and our cheese ratings? Andrew, why don't you go first, just so we have a template?
Sure. So honestly, I can't say I disliked it really. I understand that it's kind of bad, but it's the type of bad that I still liked watching it. It's captivating in its campiness and just how dumb it is. And sometimes that's all you need. It's also kind of a quick watch. It didn't seem that long to me. It kind of breezed by a little
Hour
bit.
29 minutes, baby.
So, honestly, I can't say that I hate it. I'm not going to recommend it to Superman fans, but if you like cheesy garbage, I mean, then it's right here, The show destroyed itself,
The show destroyed himself.
The show destroyed itself.
The show destroyed itself.
The show destroyed itself.
Destroyed itself.
The show destroyed itself.
Please just add all those clips. Every time we say it, just add the clip from the special answer. They need to know how many times it was said.
So many times.
A lot.
I'm gonna give this a Metropolis cheesesteak, which is I guess a cheesesteak place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They look really cheesy. Like there's a fuck ton of cheese on here, so we'll take it.
Billy made that.
All right, Liz, you're next.
I'm with Andrew. I love trash, and this is trash, and I love it. It's just like it's like a person watched the Batman show and was like, I want to make that, but didn't understand how the Batman show works, so they tried and failed actively, but they're trying. It's like watching The Room. It's like watching a person try but fail in front of your eye. It's like so stupid. If you like Superman, please don't watch this. It'll probably just make you angry. But they just screwed it up. But if you just love trash that doesn't last that long, it's on YouTube for free. It's pretty easy to find. And get some friends together, maybe get a little intoxicated on a substance of your choice, and
try to dress up like Dr. Sedgwick.
Yeah, dress Dr. Sedgwick. Say the show will destroy itself 100 times throughout the evening, and just make a game of it.
Take a shot every time they say it.
Take a shot every time they say that Superman will destroy itself.
You will probably die of alcohol poisoning, but you'll have fun. So, my cheese rating. I actually gotta share my screen for this.
I'm ready. My body is ready.
I know, Jess, you are. Your body is always ready for me to share my stupid screen. I'm going to give it Superman imitation pasteurized processed cheese spread.
Nice.
10 out of 10.
D-cut.
Cannot believe you found that. 10 out of 10.
Google Superman cheese and you get some
It didn't
stuff.
look very hard to find.
My other favorite was the Heat Vision grilled cheese that came with like a logo design in the ad.
Heat Vision and Jack grilled cheese. All right, Phil, what is your overall thoughts and your cheese rating?
Okay. Well, I think the strong points of the show are the villains, and like the one character I liked, and then because she was awesome, and I can't even remember her name, but like I think those are like
Sydney.
Justice for Sydney. Justice for Sydney.
She's a keeper, but I think mostly I was just sort of like, it's cool to see as like a piece of history, like a piece of like comic book history, like, oh, they made this. Somebody thought this was a good idea. That's so fascinating. So like the geek in me actually appreciates that. Thank you, Jesse, for having me even check this out.
You're welcome.
Because I never would have sat through it otherwise. But as a fan of musical theater and a fan of like Superman or storytelling or anything, it wasn't fun to watch. I was like there are moments that you're like, that's so stupid, it's kind of funny, but like mostly I kept checking to see like how much more of this I have to go through, because I was just like, I got it. I got a download of what this is at the beginning, and then it just goes on and on and on, ineffectually. So it's bad, but like it's nothing to be upset about, guys. Like it's worse things have been made. Surprisingly, I will say that my cheese rating. My cheese rating will be like the deepest, most decadent layer of like lasagna you could possibly have, because I'm lactose intolerant and I could never eat it. So that is my cheese rating. It has to be the most cheese thing ever, because I will never be able to digest this. This thing was horrible.
Garfield smiles on you.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Well, I don't want to take up more time. I had fun watching it. It is garbage. You've Got Possibilities is an earworm that is forever crawled into my brain and will never leave. I unironically enjoy that song. There is something to a Superman musical that I think could be interesting in the same way that there's something to a Spider-Man musical that could be interesting. Neither of them worked. Good effort made by everyone.
But put them in the multiverse movies. We want the multiverse.
Put musical Spider-Man in a multiverse.
Musical Spider-Man. Come on.
Let him dance.
My cheese rating is origami cheese because it looks like it belongs on this set. All right, Phil, thank you for joining us today. This was truly a highlight of my day. You do so many incredible things for the internet. Please promote them now for everyone to find you.
Oh, dope. Thank you. Yes, you can find me. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on Instagram. And you can find me on my Patreon at Phil Special Meter. So it's a play on my name. So PHIL Special Meter, all one word. You can find me pretty much anywhere that I exist on the internet for those purposes. The acting stuff at PSD Actor, and all my acting stuff will be there.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you've caught Emily Clark's videos, you can catch Phil's voice in, now I gotta remember which video that was. Make Me Sound Smarter in Editing.
Double it. Put
The
reverb
Forgotten
on it.
Legacy of Shuffle Along. I'm pretty sure that was the one you were involved in, correct?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I connected you with, God damn it. Maybe I dreamed this.
Maybe they were supposed to reach out, or maybe it just didn't work. I don't know. But like, you can find me in one of Jesse's films. I actually really like that.
Oh
film.
yeah,
I actually really like that film a lot.
You do? I like the actually there.
I actually really do. Because it sounds self-serving. I'm like, oh, I love Jesse's film. Thanks for letting me on the podcast. Like, no, I mean, I legitimately. There's not a lot of things I've been in that I can like go back and watch and be like, yeah, I fucking love this. I fucking love that movie. Proud of it.
I'm so glad. Yeah. What was the name of that film for everyone? If that might be interested in seeing that, just.
It was Luchica.
Perfect.
Luchica.
And you can find that on my Vimeo page, where Phil is wonderful in it. Truly great. And Phil also helped me out a lot with the feature film Daughters of the Domino, which is still forthcoming. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that as well.
Oh, thanks, man. It's a pleasure.
You've seen a cut of it. Do you think it's gonna be something cool?
I think it will be something cool. I think, yeah, it's a cut. So I don't know what you've done with it recently, but I think there's
about 45 minutes cut out of it since you've seen it. So
I need to see that version. But yeah, no, I think I love a good I love a good mystery, and I think you wrote one. Like, I love a good like kind of crime thriller thing. And because that's just not how my brain works. I don't put those together. That's why I love Batman and Detective Comics so much, because those stories are always the most interesting to me. So yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's gonna be great.
You know who else is going to be great? Thank you to our listeners. Please follow us on iTunes and Spotify, Musicals with Cheese. We're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, Patreon Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We got some content there. People just keep on watching that Sondheim Patter song video. I don't know why. Patreon podcast, Patreon with Cheese. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. Juliet writes ASMR, and so every time we have a guest, I ask them to do a little bit of ASMR for us. So give us your best shot there.
My voice just it dried out, and this is the worst possible moment to do ASMR. I don't even know if you can hear me because my mic settings might be too shitty. But know that you are loved, and I hope you can get to a nice, gentle sleep tonight.
That was wonderful. This show is edited by Andrew DeWolf, and he's doing a fantabulous job. Woohoo! Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform, despite our need to destroy ourselves. All right, we will see you next time on Musicals with Cheese. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
The show will destroy itself.
Somebody out there, bring back Dr. Sedgwick.
Yeah, can we bring in Dr. Sedgwick? Superman writers.
I want a
bring him
Zack
back.
Snyder movie about Dr. Sedgwick.
Bring back Dr. Sedgwick.
Haircut, simply terrible. Necktie, the worst. bearing, just unbearable. What to tackle first? Still, you've got possibilities, though you're horribly square. I see possibilities underneath. There's something there. Get it? Because he's got a suit underneath his shirt.